Good afternoon and happy Friday to you. I believe we are officially in summer, even though technically by the calendar we haven't made it to summer yet. It's a summer type of feel today in terms of the heat and humidity. Nevertheless, I hope that you are enjoying the day, and I hope that you are seeing God shine upon you. Now, some of you may think, how can you say that? You don't know what's going on in my life. Well, if you can watch this video, if you can hear my voice, if you can comprehend what I'm saying, if you're able to talk, breathe, walk, God is shining upon you. God works through the mundane often to bless us in ways that sometimes we easily forget. Now, if you remember on Sunday, we talked a little bit about that as we kicked off this series about patience, being patient when we are out of patience. We're going to continue that this Sunday, but before we do, I want to just take a few moments and talk about verse 11 from James chapter 5. We didn't get to it Sunday morning, and I just want to highlight something to you. As I mentioned on Sunday, by the way, shameless plug, if you haven't watched Sunday, go and watch Sunday's service out on the internet via our website or YouTube. You can put in the Tabernacle Inc. and pull us up. Here is what I want to say. So I talked on Sunday, we talked about exhortations and examples. So every time James gives us an exhortation, calling us, encouraging us to do something, he then gave us an example. So he said, be patient, and then he gave the example of the farmer. He said, you too be patient, and then he gave the prophets of the Old Testament as an example. And then he talks about Job. He says Job endured, and as a result of his enduring, he got a chance to see the Lord bless the latter end of his life. Now, it says endured. You don't see the word patience. Some translations, instead of endured, use perseverance. I like to think of it this way, that perseverance and patience are cousins of each other. It's very hard to persevere without patience, and it's hard to be patient and not persevere. And so they're related. Although they're not the same, they are connected. They intertwine with each other. And you can certainly look at Job, all 42 chapters of his life that God allows us to read and have on display. That Job had his moments of wanting to quit. In fact, one instance he told God, just take me out of here. Take me out. I'm done. I've been through too much. My health is failing. I've lost my children. I'm not sure of my wife in terms of what she believes about who you are, God. Just take me out. End it now. Then he had friends accuse him of things that simply weren't true. They thought because he was suffering that he had to sin. But many of us know you don't have to sin, and you can still struggle and suffer. You can still face sickness. You can still face uncertainties. You can still face job loss. You can be perfect in the eyes of man and still have life go terribly wrong at certain moments. We live in a fallen world, and Job experienced it all. And so as a result of that, Job had his moments of questioning God. He had his moments of temper tantrums. He had his moments of wanting to quit. So in one sense, many would say he wasn't patient, but yet Job never threw in his faith. So I happen to believe it took some kind of diving deep, to find patience so that he could endure what God was doing. Yes, he had his moments where he wanted to fall out. Don't we all? Yes, he had his moments where he didn't understand. Don't we all? Yes, he had times where he was unsure of everything around him. Don't we all? And yet, he never gave up on God. He endured. Endure means to finish, to make, to the end. And it was because he, even though he was upset, he knew that God was keeping him and that God would ultimately bring him to that end. And as a result of his endurance, his willingness not to give up on his faith, his willingness to wrestle with God and be patient, even when he had ran out of patience, he received double in the latter end of his life. Now, we're not patient to get, but rather we have already gotten so much from God. So rather be patient to receive something, we're patient because of what we've already received. If we don't get anything else, those of us who are believers and followers of Jesus Christ have received the most ultimate precious gift, which is eternal life, that Christ thought enough of us to die for us. Christ was patient on the cross. He stayed there until he died totally, and then he went in a grave so that all could think that it was over, to only totally rise up out of the grave. He's patient. He's patient for us. And the text says in James that Job endured as another example of patience. Listen, friends, if you're going to get to God's promises for your life, it chokes me up even thinking about it. But I say this and I'm done, really, on this beautiful Friday. If you don't hear anything else I say, if we're going to get to the promises in life that God has for us, and I'm not talking about just material things, I'm talking about being fully shaped in his image and likeness, utilizing the gifts he gave to us, living a abundant life that Christ came to give us, then we're going to have to be patient and endure some things. Endure and patience doesn't necessarily mean bad things. Sometimes it's just timing. Sometimes it's just getting the right education. Sometimes it's the right insight. And then sometimes it's just that alone time, that solitude time with God. Other times it's that walking through the valley and thinking, I'm all alone, and where is God? Only to get to the other side to see that God is the one who brought us through. There's no way around it. We don't receive promises without patience. And so I'm looking forward to this Sunday. We're going into Romans chapter 9, where we're going to see an example of patience, God himself. Who better to teach us and show us patience than God, the creator of all things, including patience? So I can't wait to get into this, because we're going to talk about God's crafting, God's choosing, and God's calling. And he does all that from a patient posture. See you Sunday. Bring somebody with you. God bless.